Brother lads, welcome back to Cossy Podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to brand new video. Arsenal are closing in on 2 deals for David Raya and Bitello. We are also working to get a couple of outgoings done, and some deals are very, very close. In this video, I'm going to be diving into the latest transfer news around Arsenal, a couple of deals that we are confident are going to get done in the next week or so. And of course, the bad news around the club that we are now trying to sign a new striker because it looks like our main striker is going to be out for a couple of weeks. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well. I have a question for you. Arsenal and Brentford are actually working towards an agreement for the price of David Raya. We've got to pause that. And that is where the question comes from. Should Arsenal walk away from negotiations with Brentford, get that 30-40 million pounds, go and sign a new striker? Do you think Arsenal should divert the funds for David Raya to go and sign a new striker? Because I think Aaron Ramsdale, despite the fact that we are criticizing him, especially the media, the mainstream, he's all right. He's an all right goalkeeper. I think he will take us through the season. I think he will be all right with Ramsdale in goal, and it will be okay. But without a striker, without a leading number 9, it will not be okay. Now there are a couple of options on the market. I've seen PSG are trying to sign Gonçalo Ramos, I think, from Benfica. I've seen Dusan Vlahovic has been put up for sale by Juve as well. There are options like Mediterranean at FC Porto. Do you think Arsenal should focus now on a striker and forget all this? We need a goalkeeper stuff, which is actually not even as pressing as we thought, initially. Let me know in the comment box below, and let's get this video up to 500 likes. Now, let us start there. Let us really start there from the David Raya situation, because the Times have actually reported and they've said that Arsenal are now very, very close to agreeing a deal for David Raya. They're saying Arsenal and Brentford are working towards an agreement for the player who wants to move to North London. Bayern Munich remain interested in the Spanish goalkeeper, but Raya's preference is to stay in the Premier League and play with Arsenal. So I think this is going to be a very, very defining week in this deal. Bayern are really kind of very confused. Like, I think they're as confused as, I don't know. I don't know. I've never seen a disturbed party in a transfer market as Bayern this summer. They wanted Rice. Somehow they didn't get him. They wanted Caicedo. Somehow they didn't get him. Now they want David Raya. Somehow they're not willing to pay the money to get him. Bayern are just confused, and I think they're just making the situation difficult, and they're complicating matters between Arsenal and Brentford. So the Times are saying that there is a confidence, there is optimism that Arsenal have and Brentford have as well, that both clubs will reach a consensus for the signing of David Raya, and the next 7 days are going to be very, very crucial. I don't have a problem with this deal. You know that. I think Raya is really talented. And I think if he signs for Arsenal, there is a big chance that in the Euros next year, Spain will have a decent goalkeeper, a better goalkeeper rather than Unai Simon. I do like Unai Simon, but I just don't trust in him. But my problem with this deal is it is a luxury deal. So actually, that is the one. This is a luxury good. This is a good that it's a status symbol, in my opinion. So if you have 2 good goalkeepers as a Premier League side, I don't think that really wins you the league. I don't think that really guarantees you Champions League. Goalkeepers are not like defenders, strikers, and midfielders that if you do not have a good backup, if you do not have a very good, second midfielder, it's going to blast on you. I've seen goalkeepers like Victor Valdez literally win each and everything there is to win at club level and continental level, probably. For how bad they were. Like Victor Valdez has a World Cup. Victor Valdez has a Euros medal. Victor Valdez has Champions Leagues and La Liga titles. So I think Ramsdale. Probably Mikel needs to talk to Ramsdale. He needs to tell him, hey, probably the budget we're going to spend on your competition is going to be spent somewhere else, but your performances have been dipping, rising and dipping, because that's the problem with Ramsdale. I was looking at his chart, and why Arsenal really want to replace him. And actually, if you go and watch that video on Tifo Football, Ramsdale performances are like this. So they go up at some point in time, especially during the beginning of the season, and then they come down during a crucial part of the season, and then they go back up again, and then towards the end of the season, they actually come down. So you will have remembered that Ramsdale's performances were very poor towards the back end of last season, but they were also very poor towards the back end of the 2021-2022 campaign. So that is the problem with Aaron Ramsdale. But David Raya, of course, coming in just provides Arsenal with options. It just allows us to have a goalkeeper who is much better with his feet. It just allows us to have a goalkeeper who is a little bit fancier with his feet. But is that the focus? Should that be our focus? I don't think so. In my opinion, that forward line needs another player. And it is high time we got ourselves a striker. Strikers are going to be very expensive in the years to come. I do not even mind if Arsenal went out there and got Gianluca Scamacca. His prowess in terms of scoring goals is not defined. He's not one of the strikers that I can actually back. But I just kind of feel like the David Raya deal and the striker deal, we should be doing the striker deal. That is in my opinion. Now, the other story is around Bitello. Arsenal are closing in with on an agreement with Gremio to sign Bitello as well. It looks like the 10 million euros we've been talking about on the channel throughout these weeks is going to be just enough. So that is the second deal Arsenal will be closing. Bitello is 23. It is highly likely that Arsenal could sign him and let him go back on loan, or probably bring him to the Premier League and loan him out to the Championship or to a Premier League side or any side. A player who's 23 coming in from Brazil might need at least 1 or 2 good years, at the top level to actually get used to this stuff. Of course, this is Arsenal. This is a much more, sophisticated side as compared to all these other teams. If it was for Crystal Palace, he comes in, he's a starter. If it is for Luton Town, he comes in, he's a starter. But I think Arsenal have done a very good deal here. You sign him, you don't keep him around the squad actually, but you just let him go and get that experience, because he will definitely need it. So apart from Bitello and David Raya, at the moment, there are no links with Arsenal going out to get any other player. So Mohamed Kudus and that kind of bot are kind of sailing off. It looks like Arsenal will either have to make a bid, and there is a story that Arsenal are trying to find a suitable bid to sign Mohamed Kudus. Mikel Arteta has a certain way he wants to use Mohamed Kudus. We've seen it with Fabio Vieira in the Emirates Cup. You saw that. Fabio Vieira playing where Saka is playing. So probably Mikel wants another midfielder that can be as competent as Bernardo Silva, a player that can play that kind of role. When Saka is not there, we can change the dynamics. And I think it's going to be very key to the way we win games, especially games that are very, very hard next season. One thing I've seen is that Saka is easy to get, to keep out of the game. It's so easy. However much it is very hard to keep him quiet, it is also very easy to keep him quiet. So he's so predictable, and he's a player that will need chunks of space and chunks of time. I don't think if a team deployed 2 players against Saka, he will have any success. So I think Mikel is trying to find another solution, that if we cannot have our inverted winger doing all that crazy stuff and beating players 1v1 in wide areas, can we then have a midfielder who can join up with the midfield, that is increase unpredictability and increase the numbers in midfield, but also can stretch the pitch a little bit. I think that's what he wants to do with Fabio Vieira. That is also what he wants to do with Mohamed Kudus. So those are the 2 deals Arsenal are trying to close as we speak. Let's see if in the next days we will have a here we go on any of them. Now, let's talk about deals clause in terms of outgoings. We've talked about deals clause in terms of incomings. In terms of outgoings, a couple of deals are also happening. Now, Marquinhos is very close to leaving Arsenal on another loan deal. First and foremost, it was reported that Olympiacos were very close to getting the deal done. However, Italian outlets are also reporting that there are also Italian clubs that are trying to pull his leg, and they're trying to get him to the not Italian clubs, sorry, but the French League. So French outlets are saying that Marquinhos could actually end up in the French League. I think he's an exciting talent, Marquinhos, isn't he? Very, very exciting, very confident for his age. He's very, very passionate and enthusiastic when he's playing football, and he's so, so gifted. He can play on the left-hand side. He can also play on the right-hand side as well. I think he's one of those few players, young players, that Mikel Arteta has given a chance, and they have somehow taken it. I mean, I can't lie about it. He's been absolutely phenomenal when we have seen him. He's been absolutely phenomenal when he has been given the chance. But last season, he did go out on loan. I still think that he needs another 2 or 3 loan deals. Look, he doesn't strike me as a player that will eventually become a starter or squad player at Arsenal. Unless we lose Reece Nelson, unless Reece Nelson leaves, and probably in the future when Trossard leaves and Marquinhos is still around, he might actually have developed into that kind of player that can compete with the side, that can compete with the Martinellis and Sakas. But I think Mikel is actually focusing more on getting in at least a more experienced group of players as compared to Marquinhos. So he's going to go out on loan. Olympiacos is not a bad destination, but Olympiacos, in my opinion, are very, very dominant in that Greece league. Of course, I mean, they did drop off a little bit, but the Greece league, as compared to the Greece Super League, as compared to the French League R, I would still prefer the French League R. Yes, it is a farmers league. Don't get me wrong. It's a farmers league. It's the quality of that league is bullshit. But I still think it would be much better if Marquinhos went there. So Olympiacos were closing in on a deal, as I reported initially. But a couple of clubs in France are trying to get his signature as well. So let's wait and see if one of those parties will actually get the deal over the line. The other deal, which is actually very close, is Nicola Pepe. So Nicola Pepe is very close to agreeing a deal with Besiktas to join them this summer. Fabrizio Romano has already reported that Besiktas are trying to agree a deal between them and the player, and then they can actually move on to agree a deal between them and the club, that is Arsenal Football Club. And he has also reiterated that Nicola Pepe is not in the plans of Mikel Arteta, and that decision has been communicated to the player a long time ago. Besiktas. And those the guys that bid 2.5 million for Rob Holding. I think they're the guys. Besiktas, they're the guys. You know, my problem with such clubs, Juventus, Besiktas, Galatasaray, is they think everything is a joke. They think that a club can invest 72 million, 90 million in a player just because the relationship didn't work out, just because this prospect didn't work out. They can come and sign him for £1 million. That's what they did with Mauro Icardi, isn't it? I mean, those are the guys that have had 11 signings totaling up to 11 million. 1 million on average per signing. They're crazy. They're absolutely shameless. But I don't have a problem with Besiktas. If we ever find them on Europe, we will pay. They will pay, right? I think Besiktas are going to ask for a contract termination between the player and Arsenal. I don't see them willing to pay any coin on top of Nicola Pepe's wages. I don't see them willing to splash any cash and then also pay that 150,000 Nicola Pepe is asking for. I'm still baffled, bamboozled, and very, very I don't know. How did Nicola Pepe turn down Saudi Arabia? How did Nicola Pepe say, I do not want generational wealth. I do not want because for me, if your agent, if you have an agent, and every free agent is going to Saudi Arabia, every player that is a castaway is going to Saudi Arabia, you've got to fire that agent as soon as possible. You've got to fire him because he's as useless as that dustbin that is already filled. And that is how useless Nicola Pepe's agent is. You've got to fire him. In my opinion, Nicola Pepe should be going to the Saudi Arabia, earning at least 10 to 20 million pounds per year or dollars per year for 3 years. That is generational wealth, and he goes away with that. He walks away with that. If your agent can't do that for you at this point in time when the Saudi Arabians are trying to sign every kind of crap, you've got to sack the guy. I mean, it's his job anyway. He's failed at it. You've got to get rid of him. But look, Pepe to Besiktas, that is very close if Arsenal can agree on the terms and conditions of the player and Besiktas as well. Lokonga, I've already reported, very close to Burnley, but a few things have to be ironed out, so I will be reporting on that later on. But then we also have that story on Austin Trusty. He did complete his medicals. My boy did complete his medicals with Sheffield United, and he eventually now is a Premier League star. I can't wait to watch him. Like, he's gonna be playing for a shitty Premier League side, so there will be a lot of, here and there. The performances might not be that good for Sheffield because the standards of this Premier League campaign are going to be mind-blowing. It's the same as the Championship, but this Premier League campaign is going to be very, very competitive. Just imagine having your Aston Villa spending over 100 million, having your Brighton spending over 100 million, having your Newcastle spending over 100 million. You have around 7 clubs that have spent 100 million, and you have around 6 clubs that have also spent above 50 million. So it looks like the newcomers are not ready for what they have actually signed up for. But I'll talk you right in the next one, because transfers are ongoing until September the 1st.